I had so many questions. Like, I was like, well, what do I want to ask? What kind of things would I want to ask about? And every once in a while I would think something and then the answer would come to me, and then I'd think it again and then the answer would come and then I'd think it again. But I have one thing. I'm divorced, and I can look back on my marriage now and see the places where I could have done things differently that could have made it better.
Doesn't matter. Don't relitigate anything, because it was what it was and it is what it is. And all of your power is here and now. So spend no time looking back and stirring up feelings that you should have done something differently. Because here you are now. What are you doing now? So in your now, if you're looking back and choosing that, then you're not choosing alignment. But you could in your now look back with appreciation of what all of that led to.
I definitely feel that.
When you talk about Esther's interview where she was talking about Jerry, that was not long after Jerry had made his transition. And so when Esther thinks about that now, all she feels is exhilaration about how much fun they had and exhilaration about how much fun they're having. And so in her now, there is not the discord that she was feeling at the time that it was happening. And so anytime that you look back and reactivate something that you were feeling before, over which you have no power now, it is really the greatest waste of life that could be.
Yes. What about the feeling on divorce? So, Abraham, give me some context for divorce, because there's so many conflicting ideas about it in our, and I can have my own opinions, but then I feel like I would just like to know Source's view on divorce.
We're for it.
I feel like it was lowercase me that got into it, and it was like capital M me that was like, wait a minute, this is not okay. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I think it was like, do you know what I'm saying? Disconnected me that married that man. And
let's talk about it from what at one time was a mass consciousness way of looking at it. Divorce was seen as something that should not be done. By the majority of people, it was something that was scoffed at and scorned. Well, that is not the case today, because as people have experienced, many people discover that there is life on the other side of that. There is so much that we want to say to you about this. First, the whole idea of it, of pushing against something that when you're in the middle of feels like it has a life of its own and it's the only outcome that seems feasible at the time, is that so many people find themselves in situations that they can't control, and then they feel bound within them. And so it is an avenue of freedom. But the thing is, it's like so many things. When you make a decision to no longer do something, to no longer participate with someone, to divorce someone, you take yourself with you. And so as most people move forward, even though they are moving into the possibility of things feeling better, because there are fewer conditions that they are pushing against that are preventing them from connection with Source, instead of going with that free feeling into a place of feeling better, they feel, because society still feels to them like it is judging them, they want to justify why they left. And in their determination to justify why they left, they hold themselves in a vibration that does not allow them to come into alignment with Source energy. There is no action that you are offering like that, that Source is not deeming it right or wrong that you stay or go. But when you use anything to push against yourself, that is what the greatest destruction or damage to yourself is, you see.
Yes.
The man who drove Esther from the airport here, before they began playing music, was talking about his children and how some of them were from a previous marriage. And then he began talking about those struggles and about these children. And Esther just said simply and clearly, oh, those kids are really lucky because they have more than one framework of life to look at life through. He said, what? He said, because I've always thought of them as disadvantaged, like they didn't have this strong basis. And Esther said, oh, it's nothing like that. Instead, they're getting to observe this and they're getting to observe that, and they're coming to their own personal opinions about things at earlier ages. They're coming to greater clarity about who they are and what they want. He said, say that again. Say that again. Because he could feel the resonance of it. He knew that there was something about that was right for him, but he'd never heard anything like that before. He was beating up on himself for having these children that were from different marriages that he was trying to cobble together and try to make up to them the wrongdoing that had happened to them. And Esther so wanted him to understand nothing wrong happened. We just are all where we are. Now what? How much fun are we going to have now? You see. Let the music play.
So, okay. So can I do one more?
Yes.
Okay. Then in that, like, I have this, like, okay,
you see, we don't want you to use us as a sounding board in order to create a condition here for you that causes you to feel better about something that you've formerly been feeling bad about. You see what we're getting at?
Say that one more time.
If you get us to say, divorce is a very good thing, which we did just for fun and everyone seemed to like, then you're feeling better because of the condition that we've just orchestrated here. Yes. You see. Mm-hmm. Well, you're going to meet someone tomorrow that says, shame on you, and then you're going to feel bad. Yeah. And so we don't want the way you feel about anything to be conditional on what others think about it. We want you to find out what your inner being thinks about it. Find out what the source within you feels about it. How does the whole of you feel about it? And you know how you know? When you think about that and you feel bad, that negative emotion is your indication that your inner being is not in agreement with that thought. Yeah. So what does that tell you that your inner being is saying to you? You are loved, you are whole, you are worthy, you are good. You see what we're getting at?
I do. It's so hard. It's so hard to
keep saying that, and it will keep being hard. It is not hard. It is not hard.
I know. I'm like in this place, right? Like where I'll like.
I'm in this position.
I hear you.
I'm in this position where what is going?
No. Okay.
Blah blah blah.
Can I tell you this one funny thing? I'm going to tell you this one funny thing. KK this morning and I were talking. She was talking about how she allows things to happen, and I was saying, yeah, I feel like I get there and I can like allow it to happen and go, oh, but what if this thing happens to that person because I wanted this? And then you picked her, and I was right next to her, and you said, stand if you think it's you, and I'm like, no, it should be her. I should let her have it. I shouldn't stand up. And it was kind of an example of this. My idea of like how my happiness and that I need to consider everybody else's before mine.
We have some questions for you.
Oh, okay.
Would you rather feel good than bad?
Yes.
Would you rather feel bad than good?
No.
So you like to feel good?
Yes.
Do you feel that you have some reasonable control over that?
Yes.
Do you believe that you have the ability to begin looking more optimistically at most things?
Yes.
Do you think that you can stop arguing for your limitations?
Yes.
Do you think you can stop it all at once?
No.
No, of course not. So when you find yourself arguing for a limitation, do you think you should feel bad about it? No. But do you feel bad about it? Yeah, because your inner being is never with you when you're arguing for your limitations. So we said yesterday, and some of you heard it, but it's a wonderful new analogy that we've been offering about just paying attention to how you feel more of the time and gradually moving up those locks into that higher vibration. It's like when you're driving and there's the rumble strip and you're not paying attention to what you're doing and you feel the rumble strip under your tire. It reminds you to sort of pay attention to what you're doing and get yourself back in your lane. And you know that's just intuitive to you. You don't say, oh, no, rumble strip, I'm not going to pay any attention to you. You're just here to annoy me. I know that you don't have any real meaning, and so I'm just going to do whatever I want. So you get all four wheels on the other side of the rumble strip, and now some wheels are off in the ditch, and now the bar pit's grabbed hold of your car, and now you're all twirling around in the grass, and then you're off the cliff and off the bridge and off the whatever it is, and now all the trouble of a whole new body. That is so time consuming. It's so time consuming. And so when you look at your gas gauge and you see that you're approaching empty, you're in the red zone, do you just get a happy face sticker out of your purse and just stick it on there? I don't want to see that. Or do you go put some fuel in your vehicle? And so what we're saying to you is when you are aware that these limitations that you're arguing for don't feel good, then cut it out.
So my concern for the well-being of others is...
Say again?
My concern for the well-being of others is...
Well, here's the thing. Every one of them has an inner being shining on them. Every one of them is hearing or is being offered the message, the ceiling vent is about to fall on your head. Every one of them has guidance and well-being and upliftment, and even if you want to call it protection. Yeah. Every one of you has well-being that is flowing to you. And your warnings just pinch you off from your ability to receive that, and your warnings to others pinch them off from their ability to receive it. You see, it's so misguided. You want to warn everybody about everything, and in the warning, all you do is pinch yourself off from any real help that is there. We know we have convinced you. Now we want to say to you, just take it easy. Just one step at a time. Just be nicer to yourself about more things. Just pay attention to the way you feel. Just notice that the better you feel, the better things go. Notice that there are trends that are happening in your life experience. Notice that when you're feeling worried or doubtful about something, things just kind of move in directions that don't feel so good. And notice that when you're exhilarated and feeling happier about things, notice the absolute correlation between the way you feel, which is the vibration that you're offering, which is what's coming back to you. Teach yourself the laws of the universe. You don't teeter on the roof and say, I have never, ever believed what they said about gravity. I'm going to prove them wrong. You're not going to prove them wrong. You're going to step out and you're going to prove that gravity is real. And law of attraction is too, you see. Esther begged us in the beginning, please, please, I'm nice. Let me be the one exception in all of the universe to the law of attraction. Let me feel bad about this and let it turn out good.
So I can just let go of that and know that their inner beings are looking out for them. It's okay to just go ahead and ask for the things that I want.
If you care about them, that's exactly what you'll do. Because when you hold someone as your object of attention and you're worried, you create a current that if they're anywhere in the vicinity of it, they're going to pick up on it. Yeah. Misery loves company, and worry loves company. In other words, it's like you live on these vibrational discs, and you're on the ornery disc, and you say, look at all these ornery people on the ornery disc with me. And we say, yeah. Yeah. You rendezvoused with them. You met them there, you see. We're not saying that you can't justify it and acknowledge that you're there with good reason. We're just saying that when you're there, you have to understand why you get what you get. Yeah. Enough?
I don't know if it'll ever be enough, but yes.